Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip
Bars is back.
hip hop,
SamAnt O'God.
hop,
What's
hip
up with you?
hop.
I done watched them niggas do interview after interview. They not culture vultures, the culture something they been into. So if you never gave them a view, I recommend you do. Cause when they question guests, they message is not subliminal. It don't matter if you a rookie or at your pinnacle. They gon' touch on stuff that you did and what you finna do. It's uncensored too. Yo, they never had a goofy show. But I saw some boys on they show acting goofy though. Well, if you think they L stupid though, you would get exposed like the hoes on OnlyFans letting coochie show. To introduce the show, when I sent this to Sam, asked, oh God, that nigga said, oh God, you the man, Cass. I spit white like a clan mask, and I'm a hustler. I could stand out on the beach and sell sandbags. Some things can't last, but this ain't just a podcast. This is SamAnt O'God cast. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving SamAnt riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving SamAnt riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Go gang.
And a lot of, announcers like Jerry King Lawler, Jim Ross, a lot of these guys, I even fed off of, and just that excitement that they brought, to every, punch and everything. So who were some of your influences, growing up that you listened to say, I want to get into being an announcer?
I always appreciate announcing, but honestly, the first announcer that ever grabbed my attention was my brother, Micheal Buffer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I actually became a fan of Micheal Buffer before I ever met him.
Wow.
We did not grow up together. I think you guys might know that, or maybe not. Yeah, we're long lost half brothers. And back in the late 80s, when Tyson came on, the announcer was always there to hold the glue together for the event. They're a very important part of the event when you really get down to it, to create excitement. But nobody really created a lot of excitement. In wrestling, which now is called sports entertainment, you could go off and get a little crazy, and they got a little wild. But your basic announcer was very blah. Then Micheal came on, added that James Bond flair, his magnificent voice, his looks, and, of course, the phrase, let's get ready to rumble. And then it just took off, and I became a fan. And then when I realized, long story cut short, that he was my half brother and we met.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah. I realized he never even trademarked the 5 words, never even trademarked properly. So I realized he needed to get this done. I sold 2 very successful businesses and rolled the dice with the money I had in the bank. And I told him, I'm going to make you richer, more famous than you ever dreamed. I want to trademark this phrase and make it part of American culture, the tip of everybody's tongue. And he's like, how are you going to do all that? Oh, I said, I want to put you in movies and TV and baseball and football and blah. And I said, I don't know, but if I'm going to give all this up that I have, you better believe I'll make it work. And, sometimes you just got to say, what the duck, get out there and make it happen. Right. And that's what I did. And so he was my influence. And that's when I thought, okay, I would like to announce, but we agreed I would not announce boxing. And I said, that's fine. Something will come along. I've been in martial arts since I was 12. I fought in a ring, in the sand, in the backyard, in the back alleys. We've all had our experiences. When I saw the fighting and everything involved and all the training I'd had all my life, I realized that was my world. And if I was going to announce, this was the world I had to get into. And that's what I worked my way into. And now it's just been a great, incredible ride on a rocket ship that's just going up, and I've got a first class seat.
Can you talk about did you ever feel as though at any point that you were in the shadow of your half brother Micheal Buffer? Because it's funny, anytime me and my fiance we watch UFC and we hear you do your thing, she goes, oh, that's not Micheal. I'm like, you better leave my man Bruce alone. He's doing his motherfucking thing out here. But did you ever feel like you were ever in the shadow of your brother when you began announcing in the UFC?
No, I mean, some people said, oh, look, he's riding the coattails or whatever. He only got the job because of Micheal. That's so far from the truth. It's unbelievable. Micheal, one writer once put it, they said, Michael's like a fine bottle of Bordeaux, and I'm like a shot of Jack Daniels. I announce, right? Now, if anybody could have copied somebody, because announcers are always trying to copy Micheal, I didn't want to be Frank Sinatra Jr. I wasn't phrase driven. I had no interest in just being another Micheal Buffer. I wanted to create my own style. And I told myself that within 3 years, if I didn't create my own style and was recognized for what I'm doing for myself, then I would just give it up, because I'm not interested in being that guy. right? And with that being said, I manage my brother. I set out on a goal to be different, but to be myself, right? And that's the key thing. So it's not riding the coattails. I haven't ridden Michael's coattails. I've been the one sewing them on and making sure they stay there. And we don't compete against each other. We're different announcers, and we have each of our own flair. And I appreciate and respect and thank everybody that appreciates what I do. And if you don't like what I do, I appreciate that too. Say whatever you want about me. Just spell my name correctly.
Yeah, you've niched your own lane in the UFC, and I think you are the voice of the UFC. It's definitely great to watch you damn near every week now doing anything in the UFC. UFC stays busy with nonstop entertainment. You said something earlier that kind of was resonated with me. You talked about just martial arts and how now women know what the UFC is. Kids know what the UFC is. It's kind of opened the door for a brand new genre of martial arts where it's full circle now. I'm a part of a full circle martial arts team. And it's great to kind of just train every aspect. Back in the day, it was you did taekwondo, you may have did tang sudo or a certain form of martial art, but now they've incorporated it all with this brand new thing. You got great teachers that teach it all. Talk about the importance of not only UFC as far as a marketing standpoint, but just as a martial art as a whole.
Well, as a martial art as a whole, back in the original time when we were a spectacle, it was all about like blood sport. You know, what's the best style? What style is going to win? Is it the jiu-jitsu guy? Is the taekwondo guy, the boxer? And then about 7 years into the realm of the UFC, Jeff Blatnick, who was the gold medal Olympic winner in wrestling, who passed away from cancer a number of years ago, he coined the term mixed martial arts, which created that whole flow. And in my training and the different styles that I've trained in, it's important when you're training to fight to know how to have an answer for everything that comes at you. And in boxing, with all respect to everybody, whether you're kung fu, boxing, taekwondo, kickboxer, all respect, you're perfecting your art. But if a man's going to take you to the ground that's a jiu-jitsu artist or a wrestler, like when I was, get into a street fight or something, if I knew the guy was a wrestler, I was worried, right? I didn't know what was going to happen back then. So you have to fight knowing your opponent. It's very important to know this. And now kids, young people and adults alike, whether they go and train in boxing, now they want to train in mixed martial arts because they want to know how to box. They want to know how to fight on the ground. They want to know how to deal with a kick coming at you, somebody grabbing you. And if you're going to learn to fight, that's it. Because if you've had any street fights in your life, which I'm sure you guys have had your own experiences, most every street fight goes to the ground. Most everyone is going to go to the ground at some point. You better know what you're going to do, right? I always say you never know who you are till you get punched in the face.
Well said.
Yeah, definitely. How do you feel about the football, boxing, UFC, the brain injury aspect of the sport? Does that ever kind of weigh on you to know that some of these guys may be, causing permanent damage to their brain?
Sure, it weighs on me. It's a danger. It's a danger in a lot of sports. I mean, there's been people that have had brain injuries in baseball, getting hit by a baseball. There's, motocross, falling down on a bike. I mean, to me, whenever you take any kind of head trauma, I think you're actually being concussed. I don't think it's about getting knocked out and waking up. I think any kind of head trauma is a form of concussion. I sit back in my own and I don't worry about it, but it's like I question, will I find something in the future? I can't count the number of times I've been nailed in the head, by fist or foot or elbow or whatever. But, it's just the nature of the beast and just hope for the best. But it's good to see the research that's going on and things that are, being put into place. I know the UFC is involved in that, putting money into the CTE research. I don't think you have to be a brain surgeon to realize that getting hit in the head is traumatic. And again, it's just one of those things. If you choose to do the sport, then you're opening yourself up to this potential injury.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because when you look at the UFC, I find it, and I love both boxing and UFC. But when you look at the UFC, it's kind of interesting to me because soon as you see a fighter out, the referee's immediately in there. Stop the fight. There is no standing 8 count. There is no walk to me. It seems like there's a lot less, although the sport is brutal, a lot less chance for traumatic injuries like that to happen. Am I right or wrong in saying that?
No, you're right in that, because in boxing, the whole object aside from the body is to hit the guy in the head and to hit him in the head as many times as you can until he gets knocked down. And then you give him 10 seconds to get up again, only to be knocked down or win the fight again. Okay. Or to win the fight or get knocked down again, and another 10 seconds until the referee decides to stop the fight or the towel gets thrown in. The safety factor in the UFC is very extreme when it comes to fighting sports. I think in the world of mixed martial arts since 1993 in its inception, if I'm not mistaken, there's maybe less than 5 deaths that have occurred, maybe 3 or 4. Not in the UFC though. A couple that I know of in, some 15 years ago or so were due to poor medical and allowing people to fight that were just concussed or had brain trauma, shortly before or whatever. And that's the fault of the promoters and the medical staff at hand. The medical staff and the rules and regulations in with the UFC are so tight. Sure, you can get hurt, but we've never had a death. We've had some serious injuries as far as you saw Anderson Silva break his ankle like Joe Theismann and other things that have happened. There's been broken bones, ligaments, blown knees, torn egos, but nobody's died. This is a fighting sport. People do get hurt. The men and women are amazing athletes. I don't like seeing anybody get hurt whatsoever. And it really does make you realize how important and difficult the referee's job can be, right? He's got